All right, so Chelsea going on to win 2-1 against Fulham. What a hit by Pedro Neto to seal all 3 points. The icing on the cake in that 2-1 win from Chelsea. Up next is they take on Everton at Stamford Bridge on Saturday, early kickoff at 11:30 a.m. Let me introduce my guys. Emmanuel Nubo. Emmanuel with an I, not E, we beg you. So if you are spelling it, it's I, not E. And then Susu Graham, as always, my two guests for today's discussion.
Two U's.
Susu is what?
2 U's.
You want to edit your name?
No, a lot of people call me Susu.
Yeah, you get that a lot.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
On radio, scorecard.
That's what I'm saying, Susu.
But up to now, people still haven't come to terms that your name is SU.
Like the more common one is.
No, like
the more common one is Susu.
Yeah.
Everybody goes
so just spell Susu box, and you'll be fine. But guys, how you guys doing?
That's why I said with the 2 U's. I also have mistakes, so I have to.
Yeah, Iwana, you good?
Perfect.
Yeah, feeling so lively because you know that Sundays for you, Liverpool.
I'll be teleporting to Liverpool on Sundays.
We'll get into that conversation a bit later. Let's start off with Chelsea. So the conversation is around the top 5.
Yeah.
This week after that 2-1 win against Fulham, I've been monitoring the conversation, and a lot of people, even the Opta supercomputer, has ruled out Chelsea as part of the other 3 teams to join Arsenal and Liverpool for the 5 teams that will be competing in the Champions League next season. Where do you stand on that, though?
I think with Opta, I do understand why they are saying that.
Okay.
We've had this discussion on some other shows that if you look at the run of games Chelsea has getting to the end of the season, and with the form and the way they are playing and how they are laboring to get results, you even look at the Fulham game. If Fulham were a bit more serious and a bit more purposeful, this game they should have been 2 or 3 up even before Chelsea got the chance to get back into the game.
Yeah.
So you look at Chelsea's last 10 games, they've had very questionable losses. Against Brighton beat them 3-0. They lost against Arsenal, they lost against Aston Villa.
Yeah.
These are teams within the same competing zone for the top 5. So looking outside that and looking at the run of fixtures they have, I think there's a Liverpool in there. They play Nottingham Forest on the last day.
There's United.
There's
Arsenal, I think.
Yes. So of the last 6 games, there are these 3 top teams who also compete. I mean, United out and all those kinds of, but these are top teams.
Yeah.
So for Chelsea, I mean, with Everton, Everton has not beaten Chelsea at Stamford Bridge since like forever. So with that one, it's a given. But then post that, because it now becomes something like a 6-pointer.
Mm-hmm.
If Forest, who are also vying for top 4, top 5, if they beat you, the gap widens. Anybody in and around who beats you, the gap widens. So just based on the way they are playing and Cole Palmer not being able to be that effective as he was earlier last season and all those kind of things, it's a worry. Jackson is back from injury, but even when he wasn't injured, he wasn't putting as many goals away as he was. So that's my main worry. Their lack of efficiency up front and the defensive lapses that they have. Yes, Enzo has improved offensively. Yes, Caicedo has improved defensively. Mm-hmm. But then if you look at that back 4, there's always a chopping and changing. The goalkeeper cannot be relied on. Whether it's the first choice, second choice, or third choice, none of them can be relied on. They are susceptible to mistakes and all those kind of things. So, in a nutshell, if I will agree with the supercomputer, Chelsea are the least
They've
likely.
got a lot on the plate to deal with.
Yeah, if you look at the other teams in and around there, you look at Villa, you look at Forest, you look at Citi. I think even Newcastle, I think they stand a better chance of making top 5 than Chelsea. Maybe the best thing they can do is win the Conference League and get into Europa. But for me, I think it's going to be very, very hard. I don't see Chelsea making it in top 5.
Susu, I look at the fixtures, so I saw this very interesting argument that at the time Chelsea would take on Liverpool, I mean, it would have been...
They finished.
Yes,
so
it would have been job done.
Oh, no.
Don't you think that fixture, and that fixture against Arsenal, I think Arsenal have checked out in the EPL.
I
think Chelsea are going to play. I think maybe United.
There's United, Liverpool,
so United,
Forest.
Liverpool.
Sure
I think there's
West
Ham. I saw West Ham, and then this game.
No, I don't think they're playing.
They're not playing West Ham.
I think their games left are the games that are winnable to me when I look at them are the Liverpool and United games, more so because both teams will not be thinking about the league.
Yeah,
that's my theory about it. I think Everton's a tough game. Forest on the last day, if Forest are also still trying to secure that Champions League, and it's head to head, to be a very difficult game.
And I think it's away too. If
no, I think it's at Stamford. Yeah, I think it's away.
The Forest game is at Stamford Bridge.
It's at Stamford Bridge.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So it's a very difficult one. So it's all a bit tricky for me. And because this team doesn't spark, I don't even think this Everton game is easy. I disagree with Nubo on that. I know.
No, based on stats, they've not won at Stamford Bridge.
Oh yeah, I agree. But I think David Moyes, he's starting. You know how Nottingham Forest are looking this season. Yeah. I think Moyes is kind of ramping Everton to do something similar.
They're harder
this
to
season.
beat now.
Yeah, they're a lot harder to beat. Yeah. They've got new owners who are ready to spend money. There's a new stadium. Yeah. And I think a lot of these players, if you think about it, they are playing for their future. Yeah. Because if you're in that Everton team right
more
now,
like a justify your inclusion sort of.
Exactly. You have to justify why, when the summer comes, when we are moving players around, trying to rebuild the squad, why should you stay and why should you go? So I think the Everton players are very motivated. It might not seem that way because when they are on the table, there's nothing to play for. Yeah. They are safe. They are not going to make Europe. So what is there to play for? But I think you are playing for your future because I can see a lot of change coming at Everton very soon, considering that, and these new owners, you saw them at Roma. They hired Jose Mourinho. Yeah. They backed him in the transfer markets. They paid big wages to players that usually wouldn't come to Roma because they had an ambition for their club. It hasn't worked out. They've kind of run away from Rome. There's a lot of fan turmoil, and now they've come to Everton. So they are ready to spend money. They are not people who are afraid to spend money. Yeah. So I think a lot of players, if they are very wise, they know that you are playing for your future. And I think Chelsea have been quite poor recently. I was surprised they beat Fulham. But if you think about it, basically it's not any points gain because they should have beaten Brentford and they should have beaten Ipswich. So it's almost like you are in a deficit for 4 points you should have gotten. Yeah. So these 3 points you've gotten is you're still at -1 for me.
And those were like the fixtures that they thought they would have won.
Exactly.
Yeah. Because there were harder ones coming.
I thought that's the Fulham game they would draw at best and they got the win. So okay, they've balanced out the Ipswich game in my reckoning. You still have to balance out the Brentford game in the coming games. It's going to be difficult. It's not impossible, but I think they have the hardest fixtures of those Champions League chasing teams. I think Aston Villa and Newcastle do also have some difficult games, but because Newcastle, we know that at home, they are very difficult to beat. We know they are going to get points at home. That's different. Aston Villa, same. Their home form is great. With Chelsea, you don't know. And like we said, the keeper, the defense, they are very shaky. So for me, I'm not buying this Chelsea.
So Chelsea to stay. So what? To stay at seat?
Sit for 7.
Yeah, sit or 7. Drop to 7.
Honestly, if Chelsea gets in the Champions League, I'll actually clap for Enzo Maresca. I'll come on this show and I'll apologize to him.
Hey.
Oh yeah, seriously. Because,
you're on record.
Oh no, because where they are right now and where the fixtures are going, I'll be very surprised.
Okay, Mr. Kai, I hope you've taken notice. Edem Kai, watching. Susu says when Chelsea finishes in the top 5,
this one
you come on this record and apologize to Enzo Maresca.
Maybe we won't do Premier League preview because the season has ended, but cut it and play it on.
We'll add it to the
scorecard, whichever way. In fact, we'll do scorecard the day the season
ends.
And so they should cut it, and then if we have to do it, I'll render an unqualified apology.
Okay.
Because the Chelsea fans have said I don't like them, so I render an unqualified.
Last week they attacked you a lot. So who's winning this? Everton for you?
I think our best is going to be a draw.
Okay.
Everton hard to beat, Chelsea misfiring, so I think it evens out for a draw.
I would say I agree with the draw, but if I had to pick a win, I would still pick Chelsea. I think
Chelsea to win.
I think even though the Everton players are playing for their future, Chelsea are just a lot more motivated and they have the better players. So I think they are still favourites, but if they don't get results, I would not be surprised in the least bit.
Well, let's see how Chelsea fared in that game against Everton. It should be a good one. It should be a really, really good one because, like the guy said, Everton are really a tough side to break down.